Thank you both of you. Now we're excited to present our next speaker, Yuval David, who will give a presentation on the art of storytelling. Yuval, welcome. Is he? There you are. Come on up. Come on down. Okay. Hello.
Oh, there we go. You were introducing me, but I was going to wait. I was going to wait for your introduction before I got on stage.
I'll tell you why. This is a comedy act. We planned this.
I didn't plan this.
There's 2 lines here, so I got a little bit.
You got confused by the lines?
You want to go back down there and I'll call you after? Okay. Let's pretend that never happened. We're going to start again. All right? We're excited to present our next speaker, Yuval David, who will give a presentation on the art of storytelling. Yuval, welcome. We spent a large part of the day educating ourselves and talking about shared strategies and challenges, but what's next for our community? Here to talk about how we move forward and harness everything we've learned during the summit are Yuval from the Combat Antisemitism Movement and Tamar from the You want to come up here? Okay, go ahead.
They're coming up after me. That was probably the best introduction I've ever had.
Yeah.
Not because of what you said, and that's something that so many of us need to remember. It's not always what we say, but it's how you make us feel. You're a strong, bold, Zionist warrior queen. Look at this amazing person. And the fact that my name came out of her mouth is the best introduction ever, so thank you.
Thank you. Now I'll like you forever. That's why you're a good storyteller.
But you see, I only got like. She didn't say love you forever. I just got friend-zoned in front of all of you. Here's an issue. And you know what? Pull out your phones. Honestly, pull out your phones. Why do you need to pull out your phones and film? Because we are losing the battle on social media. And I blame every single one of you. I'm blaming every single one of you. Because when we encounter other Jewish and allied people who say that they feel alone, and they feel depressed, and they don't know what to do, we are the ones who are leaving them alone. We are influencers, not just on social media, but we are people of influence in real life. And we are the front lines. We are being cut. We are bleeding. We are sweating. And our hands are extended to help them cross that street. It is up to us to march. It is up to us to do something. And your videos are so very funny. And I love them. And remind people that your hand is open to uplift them as well. The way, please. So, my name is Yuval David, as you heard in that amazing introduction. Of course, follow and connect on social media. Yes, yes, all of that stuff is great. We need to amplify each other. We need to collaborate with each other. We need to forget about the egos that we're seeing throughout the socio-political movements and in media and entertainment, the worlds that I exist in, which, Lord knows, we see egos all the time. But we have to forget about that, because the Zionist movement that I was raised to understand feels like an old car from the 1980s trudging up a mountain. We need to fix that car. We need to fill it up with gas. We need to amplify it so it drives quickly up that mountain. And that is up to every one of us. We need to fill our lives with that Zionist spirit. You know, I was created because of the anti-Semitism of Europe. If it wasn't for the anti-Semitism of Europe, I wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for the Shoah, my grandparents wouldn't have met each other in the camps during the Shoah and would not have fallen in love with each other without ever touching each other. But they were the hope, the ahava, that let them live throughout traumas. And when my grandfather was rescued by who he thought were angels, because he saw his first black people in the form of Americans who rescued him when he was a Muslim, when he was 5'11" and 60 pounds. And he was rescued by people who he didn't know what they were saying. He never saw somebody who looked like that, but he knew that he was in the hands of goodness. Not only am I alive because of the Shoah, because my grandparents are not just people who lived as victims, because they didn't live as victims. They lived as determined, resilient Jews who would fight forward. That is who we are. We fight forward. And I'm also descended from first-generation Israelis. My mother was the first ambulance driver in Israel. She stopped her career as a dancer choreographer to help people, to drive an ambulance, to be a commander, to shoot a gun. They learned that our weapons have to be utilized, and our weapons are not just the guns, they're not just the tanks, they're not just the money that is donated from the North American Jewish community to support Israel, and it's not just Israel who comes to try to support us in North America, but it is our Zionist spirit. We need to run up that mountain, and when we're exhausted, because multiple people came up to me yesterday especially saying that, one in particular, she came up to me and she said to me that she's feeling buried by the trauma, by the depression, by the anxiety. And she was crying and she said, Yuval, I love what you're doing on social media and that I'm talking to you and you're the same as you are on socials. I said, because I'm not defined by my social media. I'm defined by my actions, by ma'aseh, what I do in real life. And so are you. And she said, what do you mean? I said, you just told me that you're feeling the greatest anxiety you've ever felt. You're feeling more depression than you've ever felt. You're feeling a bitter sadness, and you can barely sleep unless you take a happy little toke before you go to bed. And I said, you know what that is? That is awareness. That is brilliance. It's the fact that you are smart and aware, so when you feel buried and covered up by darkness and dirt, you are the beginnings of Etz Chaim. You aren't buried, you are planted. And as you grow and push through that dirt, you're going to reach up for the sky. You're going to see the sun. You're going to begin to pollinate those around you. And we will be that movement of wounded Jews. This morning, I was crying before I came here. And I said, how am I crying? I'm supposed to be amplified by voices for truth. Why am I feeling so downtrodden? Why do I feel like I'm a drop in the ocean amidst all of you, drops in the ocean? But I realized that here's the fact. If each one of us is a drop in the ocean, that means we are a storm in the ocean. And if we're a storm in the ocean, we are the ones that drive the current forward. We are the ones who create a wave, and we are the ones who are the seas of change. So when you're exhausted, know that I am surfing on your wave because I need you. And I want to be the wave for you to gloriously surf. And as someone from LA, he told me he does handstands on a surfboard. I want to be your wave and surfboard and let you be a glorious, effing, strong, beautiful Jew. There are 2.5 billion Christians in the world. There are 2.2 billion Muslims in the world. There are 1.2 billion Hindus in the world. There are 535 million Buddhists in the world. There are less than 16 million Jews in the world. We need to be louder. We need to be prouder. And our Jewish people are not just the Jews. It is our allies. Our allies and Jews, we are one. So I don't walk up to an ally and say, wow, thank you so much, you're a unicorn. Why should I thank someone for doing what every human being should be doing? But what I will say, I have seen the effects of what you're doing. I have felt the effects of what you are doing. And I've seen other people being affected by it. If you would create a beautiful, delicious meal for me, I won't just say, that's really great. I'm going to say, wow, I taste this and that. Oh, the texture is amazing. What you're doing is so incredible. And when I look at your posts and the things you're doing, I can read about it and it resonates for me. And this is why we need to amplify each other and support each other. And we need to connect to the organizations that are doing it. I don't know if you heard about this lawsuit that ADL is spearheading against North Korea, against Iran. They're focusing on suing Iran, Syria, and North Korea in the name of October 7th victims because they sponsored the attack that killed my friends, that took 2 of my friends hostage, that killed the relatives and the friends of many of us in this room. They sponsored the attacks that are happening in the streets. And when I was marching in LGBTQ pride yesterday with my Jewish pride flag, and people started chanting at me, "Jews ruined pride, Jews ruined pride." And when they said, "Zionists go home," and I said, "Where's home? Where's my home supposed to be? If you don't welcome me here in the United States, and you don't welcome me in my home in Israel, where is my home supposed to be? My home is amongst you." And in the Washington, D.C. Pride, when we were actually assaulted in the middle of a pride parade, people jumped us in the middle of the march. They punched my camera operator in the face. They pulled a lesbian mom with her 2 daughters. They grabbed her backpack and knocked her down to the ground. They stole my Jewish pride flag and ran with it. And what made it worse? People cheered as it happened. People are cheering about us being victimized because we have lost the narrative of our people. Every single one of us is a hero. Every single one of us is a soldier. Wake the fuck up. We do not have time to be silent. We do not have time to be weak. I didn't come from weak Jews. I came from strong Jews. And when October 7th happened, actually, let me correct that. When October 8th happened, and in the morning I was on Kan 11 News, and they said to me, "Wow, אתה רואה, העולם איתנו. You see, the world is with us." I said, "אתם לגמרי טועים. You're completely wrong. Just wait, not even a day, and you're going to see the anti-Semitism that North American Jews and allies have been speaking about, and many in Israel have ignored it because our Jewish people completely connected to Israel. Absolutely, there is no division between Israel and the Jewish people, 100%. But we have 50% of the Jewish people who live outside of Israel. We need to work hand in hand, and that's why this event is important. So I can tell the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, remember, I represent you just as much as you represent me. This is what I can do for you, and this is what you can do for me. And when I encounter different influencers here, I can say, this is what I want to do for you, and this is what I need you to do for me. We need to be hand in hand as we not just walk up and march up that mountain, but as we run up that mountain. Thank you, Yablonka. So I have to say that I'm struggling by what we're seeing happening amongst our Jewish people, because we're in very dark times. Dark times, hard times, create strong people. Strong people create easy times. Easy times create weak people. And weak people create tough times. What kind of person are you? What kind of person are you going to focus on ensuring that the next generation will have? As the tears stream down my face like trees bedashed with rain, it is not just because I'm so downtrodden and recognizing that I'm not buried but I'm planted, but I live with my trauma. I share it and I'm empowered by it. Just like our Jewish forefathers and foremothers said, Hagibor Chigadol, the biggest hero, understands true heroism when she has fallen off her horse and gets back on that horse and keeps riding. Our people have fallen, and our people keep riding. And we keep marching, so together we can say our warrior call and our call to action, Am Yisrael Chai.
Great job. Great job. Our next speaker is a veteran content creator and video producer.